Hi, fellow viewers. This is our Cartoon Academy, and today we'll talk about cartoon series Victor and Valentino. And I apologize in advance for my accent and English in general.
Ugh, you could not even spell it right.
Series was made by Cartoon Network. It was aired on 13th of March of 2019 year, and the finale was aired on 26th August of this 2022 year. I started to watch the series a few days before finale was aired. Here's my review to it. I will make 5 parts of the review, and this video is about the first season and about the main concept of the series. The series seems filler. There is no general story arc in the first season. There will be plot in the next seasons, but the first season only introduced the main characters and gave a little hint of what might happen next in the story. Many episodes of the season are boring, but some of them are original and interesting. The series features the supernatural, including magic and curses, monsters and ghosts. I will break this down in more detail later. Some artistic techniques have not only been used in our animated series, but have appeared in the series itself several times. For example, a character that seems evil and dangerous turns out to not be dangerous at all. It's about episode 9's Lonely Hounds Club, episode 11's Dark Room, episode 13 The Boy Who Cried Lechuza, episode 36 Lonely Hounds Club 2 Doll Island. This is an interesting plot technique, but not again and again. In the series, reverse reception is also often observed, when the main characters, infantile and carefree, deal with something which then turns out to be dangerous. And I will not list all such episodes. Okay, probably this technique is simply the general sense of the series. The intro even hints at this. To a dangerous thing that seems safe and a safe thing that seems dangerous, you can add another trick, reminiscent of the last mentioned one. A certain supporting character that seems unpleasant to main characters turns out to be cool. Episode 7 The Babysitter, Episode 25 Go With The Flow, Episode 27 Guillermo's Gathering. By the way, such episodes often introduce characters that will matter later. Some way, this and some other techniques forms the concept of the animated series. While these moves aren't bad in and of themselves, they get boring over time, and episodes that don't fit into any of the categories are usually more interesting. Like episode 21, Churro Kings, episode 22, Know It All, episode 29, The Great Bongo Feast. And be prepared for a few filler episodes made intentionally scary. The end of the intro seems to indicate what the set of main and secondary characters of the series is. The main characters are paternal half-brothers Victor and Valentino. Grandmother Chata is, let's call it, the main secondary character. And Don Jalapeno, Xochi Jalapeno, Maria Teresa, Charlene, and Pineapple are just secondary. But when you watch the series, it isn't very obvious that exactly these 5 characters are more important than Rinaldo, Guillermo, Miguelito, Rosa, and others. Victor is selfish. At the same time, he's stupid, and he has a high ego. He lies, manipulates, does stupid things. For all this, he often gets this or that punishment. He must get out of difficult situations in which he finds himself because of his behavior. Victor's storylines are often associated with morality, which is sometimes even original.
See? You listened to someone who knew something you didn't, and now you know what they know. Get it?
That makes sense.
Valentino is in many ways the opposite of Victor. He tries to do the right things. He tries to be reasonable, but in both things he does not always succeed. Chata is the grandmother of the main characters. She is a mysterious character. Some moments in the season hinted at the fact that she possesses some supernatural powers.
Are grandma's last creating the waves?
Let's find out.
Usually she is kind, but sometimes becomes strict and even furious. This effect appears many times. The main characters temporarily live with her. They help her with business. And she's blind, but this is not very clear. I myself figured it out only in the third season. Such Jalapeno is kind of a tough girl. She has physical skills, she dances salsa, she plays in a band. And during the first season, she'll start dating. Don Jalapeno is very strict. He often chastises the main characters. He also seems to have some knowledge of the supernatural going on in the world of the show. He is the father of Xochi. Charlene is a strange, creepy girl. She is somewhat magical, knows how to do different magical things, knows about different ghosts, etc. She is in love with Victor, and I will comment on this later. Pineapple is Charlene's brother. He is almost always gloomy. If he shows up, it's usually with Charlene. And I'm not sure if in the whole series he ever said anything other than a
What?
Maria Teresa is a grandmother of Charlene and Pineapple. She is Chata's rival. She is skilled in some kind of chemistry or alchemy. I wouldn't say that she is a negative character, but she has a very bad temper. And so, in the universe of the series, Hereinafter universe, there are supernatural things. They do not have a specific system. They are very different in nature. But still, they do not cause the feeling that the universe is molded from separate, incongruous pieces, which is good. In the universe, there is a world of dead. In the season, viewers are told very little about it. In general, lore of the series is inspired by Aztec mythology. By the way, in the series you can often hear Spanish words, and seems like events take place in Mexico. In the series, you can see moments that are illogical from the point of view of physics. However, among the animated series, I have come across worse implementations. There are also moments in the series that include old cartoon logic. Sometimes in the series you can see something like time travel and in different forms. I don't like time travel. Maybe someday I'll talk about it in a separate video. I'm glad that some moments of the previous episodes anticipate the next episodes. Or controversially, in the next episodes we remember the previous ones. For example, in the episode 2, The Dringer, Charlene's grandfather is mentioned.
It's an obsidian mirror. It's my grandfather's, but I'm not supposed to touch it.
And later in the season, we'll see his grandfather, and he turns out to be a magician. In the episode 4, we'll see Self the first time. In the episode 25, the main characters will make friends with him. In the episode 28, boys hang out with him. However, some story arcs raise questions. For example, for some reason, towards the end of the season, Valentino suddenly becomes skeptical about the existence of the supernatural.
It's just the wind. The rickety old architecture just makes it sound like a haunting voice.
However, we have already encountered the supernatural many times, and such skepticism seems strange. But okay, let's say that he is skeptical about certain supernatural things. I mean, existence of magic in the universe don't have to mean that all hypothetical magical things are real. Episode 32, Tess Says, is a rather interesting and unusual episode, in which apparently a certain idea was laid. To be honest, I still couldn't figure out what the idea was. And so, Tess' behavior on this episode seems pointless. Why, for example, would he lure the boys into the basement and then perform a musical show in front of them? He could, having brought the boys to the basement, immediately imprison them in mirrors with the help of magic, and nothing would stop him. Or bring them directly to the corridor with mirrors, that would be even easier. Although, here you can try to assume that Tess just wanted to amuse his pride, and therefore put on a show.
Not satisfied, eh?
And why did he want to imprison Victor in the mirror? After all, only Valentina saw how Tess stole the watch, but Victor was delighted with Tess. Although, on the other hand, in the next season will be hinted that the reason might not be only that he was afraid of witnesses. Now, of course, I will not analyze the series for each episode and each mistake, but I want to note that there are many such questions. And add here the problems with physics that I already mentioned. Since this season was completely filler, then of course after it you will not have any new strong emotions. After a long continuous viewing of one episode after another, they eventually got bored with me. Except sometimes some particularly interesting episodes can make you feel something. Some impression is made by arches of the personal growth of the main characters. In Victor's case, it's primarily a line of how Victor gradually starts to care more about others. In the case of Valentina, this is what I would call the line of his growing up. By the way, many of you love cute ships, right? There is almost no romance in the season, but as I already noted, Charlene is in love with Victor. A Charlene in these relations is not a good figure. And I say this not because
Charlene, you're weird and creepy.
what's more, I don't think there is anything wrong in this at all. But the thing is, Charlene often does bad things in her quest to bond with Victor. For example, in the episode 9, Charlene convinces Victor and Valentino to go with her and Pineapple to look for the ghost. And in the process arranges a date. In fact, she tricked Victor into going on a date. And during the same episode, Charlene manipulates Victor a lot. On the other hand, given the temper of Victor, they are worth each other. This could make for an interesting storyline. The main characters often act badly, and then retribution overtakes them. I was sometimes shocked by, for example, how in episode 8 Victor and Valentino harmed Chata, how in episode 21 they sabotaged our churro sellers, how in episode 29 they lied, and then to hide the lie they lied again and then committed a robbery. But in all cases they are punished. This carries a very simple and banal morality, but why not? In addition, some of the lessons that boys learn are very original. Xochi is Safik, as you can see first time in the episode 31, banned for life. By the way, the first hint of her romantic line was back in the episode 7.
I'm trying to impress someone, okay?
It's good that the show has at least a representation. The romantic line between Victor and Charlene is sometimes showed differently from how I described it earlier. For example, in the episode 9 finale, Victor realizes that he was on a date with Charlene and reacts like this.
No!
And it's kind of funny and all. But it doesn't directly condemn how Charlene manipulated Victor. If this isn't fixed later, it will be not good. In general, the first season of the series is not at all impressive. Subsequent seasons, however, are better. I will talk about this in the next part of the review. If you like filler cartoons in general, and you are not looking for something complex and deep, then you will even like the series. After watching some of the animated series, I regret that I wasted my time on them at all. And Victor and Valentino is not one of them. If the review interested you in watching the animated series, then I wish you a pleasant viewing. If by the time you watch the review, other parts have already been released, then to avoid spoilers, it is better to watch the animated series first, and then watch the other parts of the review. If you have already watched the animated series, then I look forward to your thoughts about it in the comments. If you liked the video, then I suggest you consider the option of like, the aforementioned comment and subscription. Goodbye everyone!